Okay. Yeah. So next thing is what to remember when doing sampling. So sampling cannot be as simple as just multiplying by an impulse rate. So there are two things. First is sampling frequency and second is aliasing. So let's pick sampling frequency first. So I'll again plot my sample signal. So just for this particular explanation, I'll only plot two adjacent spectrums. So this is 0, this is f0, and this is minus f0. In this case, f0 is my sampling frequency. Okay, this was the frequency of the impulse train also, and it actually tells us that with what frequency I'm sampling my signal. Okay, and let's assume that my message signal, which is this, is limited to minus fm and plus fm. Okay, so what is the, how do we derive the Nyquist sampling rate, or what is the limit on the sampling frequency? Okay, so if this is fm, this is minus fm, this particular point, what it should be, f0 minus fm. So f0 minus fm should be greater than equals to fm, so that these two points do not overlap with each other. If this condition is met every time, these two spectrums will not overlap with each other. Okay, and that's how we derive the sampling frequency. That's how we derive the sampling frequency. So this says that f0 should be greater than equals to 2fm. Or because in literature they usually take fs as the sampling frequency. So if fs is my sampling frequency, it should always be greater than equals to 2 times the higher frequency component of the spectrum. Okay, what if this condition is not met? What if this condition is not met? Let's assume a case. I'll draw minus fm plus fm. Let's assume that fs is equals to 3/2 times fm. Okay, so this is violating the condition, correct? Let's plot the adjacent spectrum now. So this will be fs, this will be minus fs. So my next spectrum will be like this, because what this point will be, fs minus fm. Fs is 3/2 fm, so that will be 3/2 fm minus fm, and it will be fm by 2. Okay, so that's why the green spectrum is overlapping with the yellow spectrum. Okay, and this interference or this overlapping is known as aliasing.
So this other question here, Pulkit, in a real scenario, means multiple times we are facing this problem, right? So means which technique we are using to remove this type of problem?
Yeah, I'll come to that. But to others, is this clear till now that because the sampling frequency is violating the condition, the higher frequency component, or basically the adjacent spectrums, are overlapping with each other, and that phenomena is known as aliasing. If this is clear, I can proceed. Okay. If nobody is asking, I would like to. I will ask you in the chat. I'll proceed. Yeah. So I think your question will be answered here, that how to deal with aliasing. So so to deal with aliasing, what we do? Again, I'll take the same example. that my fs is equals to 3 by 2 times fm. So in this case, we actually pass our signal through a low pass filter first and then sample. Okay. So let's assume two cases here. That first case, I am not passing it through any low pass filter. I'm just directly sampling it. So in that case, the adjacent spectrum was here. So it was coming till, sorry, it will be fm by 2. Okay. 3 by 2 fm minus, yeah. Now let's assume that what this frequency will be. This frequency will be just in middle of them. So this frequency will be 3 by 4 fm. Correct. So now let's assume that before sampling it, I passed my original spectrum through a low pass filter. And just for ease of understanding, I am plotting here the ideal low pass filter. In practice, it will not be like this. Let's say I'm passing it through a, okay, I think I made some mistake here. I'm trying to see if someone can spot what mistake I made here.
It's fm minus 3 by 4. That's 1 by 4.
Okay, so let's continue with this. Let's see whether we can minimize the impact of aliasing. So let's say I pass it through a low pass filter once. So in that case, the spectrum will look something like this. 3 by 4 fm minus 3 by 4 fm. And after sampling, there will be multiple repetitions of this. So what will be the leftmost point of this particular is the next spectrum? We will calculate that by, before that I'll write this as 3 by 4 fm. So it will be 3 by 2 fm minus 3 by 4 fm. How much that will be? That will be 3 by 4 fm, right? So the next spectrum will be, this is my fs. Okay, so can we see what happened here? Okay, so in this case, when we did not pass our signal from a low pass filter, in that case, the impacted frequencies are till fm by 2. fm by 2, 2 plus fm. fm by 2, 2 plus fm. This frequency range was impacted. Now, in case when I passed it through a low pass filter first, then sampled it, in that case, my impacted frequencies are 3 by 4 fm, 2 fm. Okay, because we see that our shape has distorted now. Okay, so in this case, to answer your question that how to deal with aliasing. So the answer is we cannot perfectly eliminate aliasing. We can only minimize.
So in that case, this overlap means if we have any data, right, any bit in that frequency range. So in that case, it is going to lost, right? We are not going to recover it.
We are going to lose it. So in there, that's why we said that aliasing impacts only high frequency components. So here we can see that only high frequency components are impacted. Lower frequency components are still as it is. And with the help of low pass filter, we actually saved something from fm by 2 to 3 by 4 fm.
Okay.
So the point is that we cannot perfectly eliminate aliasing. We can only minimize its impact.
Okay.
So that's why to not have aliasing, we should ensure that Nyquist sampling theorem or Nyquist sampling rate is met. Which means that.
Could you please come again? You said that you saved something from alias. That part I didn't understand.
Okay, let me go. Yeah. So let's assume the first case where we did not do anything extra. We just sampled our signal with this particular sampling rate. In this case, we can see the loss or the interference or the overlapping, okay, is from FM by 2 to plus FM. So this is FM by 2 to plus FM. Is this point clear? That
Yeah.
now let's assume that when I passed my signal first through a low pass filter with this particular cutoff frequencies. In that case, my signal will actually look something like this. So instead of ranging from minus FM to plus FM, it will range from minus 3/4 FM to plus 3/4 FM. And if I now sample it with the same sampling rate, it will be something like this. So in this case, we can see that there is no overlapping actually, but still I lost something from 3/4 FM to plus FM because my actual signal is from my actual signal ranges till FM. Okay, so if we compare the two cases, in first case, my loss or the interference, whatever you say, is from FM by 2 to plus FM. In the second case, my loss is from 3/4 FM to plus FM. Okay, and we know that 3/4 FM is greater than FM by 2. So in this case, the loss is lesser than the first case.
Okay, so we are saving from FM by 2 to 3/4 FM, right?
Yeah, you are right. We are actually saving something.
And Pulkit, one more thing. Why this 3/4 FM while in the second case, right? Where the signal is passed through a low pass filter of minus 3/4 to 3/4 FM. Why that? How these limits are decided?
Oh, I just calculated it from this. So I calculated the midpoint of FM and FM by 2.
Okay,
So
got
here
it.
I can see. Okay. We can actually derive a formula for this also, based on sampling frequency and the maximum, based on FS and FM. I can say that.
Okay.
So should I go ahead from this?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how to recover a sampled signal back to its original form? This is simple. I think most of you already know the answer. So here I'm not talking about aliasing. I am just talking about the actual sampling rate. If my FS is satisfying the Nyquist sampling rate. So this is my sampled signal, and let's say again continuing with the same example that I have to amplify my speech signal. So let's say after sampling, my speech signal is this. I pass through an amplifier, let's say a multiplier. So let's say initially my amplitude is 1. This is just as an example. I am not talking in terms of exact mathematical numbers. So let's say initial amplitude was 1, and after let's say multiplying it by an amount of k, this is how my speech signal looks. And now I have to actually play it from my speaker. And if I say that I have to play it from my speaker, I have to convert it into an analog form. Okay, so to convert it again back to its analog form, I have to get back something similar to this, which was the initial form. Okay, so for that, I'll just put a low pass filter. That's it. So how to recover a sampled signal back to its original form? Just put a low pass filter across the original spectrum. And ideally, these cutoff frequencies should be minus FS by 2 to plus FS by 2. I think this is clear. Okay, I'll proceed.
So this again, Pulkit, when at this when we are fetching at a original bit, right, data. So we are putting this frequency in time domain, right? Because exactly we need to also match the time.
Yeah, we will do some kind of inverse Fourier transform here. Yeah, you are right. It is again based on the processing. Let's say, but yeah. If I, let's say, play it a time domain signal and frequency domain signal, it's actually the same thing. Let's say I have xt and I have xf. So practically it is same. It is just they are different just in terms of their domain or just for the sake of analysis they are different, but actually they represent same information.
Yes, 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 they are representing the same.
Okay, fine. Okay, so yeah, I would like you to take some 2 or 3 minutes to think of an answer of this question. So this is, let's say we have a sinusoidal signal of 10 kilohertz. Okay, so I'll just, I want some answers from your side, that if I have to plot this particular sinusoidal signal of 10 kilohertz on a frequency axis, where will be the signal? And let's focus on the first line only in the first case. Can anyone help me to draw the signal?
There will be two impulses.
It
In
will be
the,
two impulses, 10 and -10.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So it will be 10 and -10. And I'll write at K, so that means kilohertz. Thanks. Now let's address the first problem. Sampling frequency is 15 kilohertz. So where should I put my next impulse? Can someone who did not spoke till now can answer? This is just so that I know that whatever I'm speaking, it is reaching to the audience.
in the positive x-axis, next will be on 5 and 25. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. So next will be at 5K, and it will be at 25K. Okay, and similar story will happen on the negative axis.
Yes.
So I'll just put it as -5K and so on. Okay, so are you noticing something what is happening here, or this is a perfectly correct case?
Yeah, I mean, the samples are moving slightly towards a low pass band. I mean, towards the zero frequency.
Okay.
I mean,
We will not be able to like reconstruct the signal if we want, right?
Correct.
no, I mean, we will be able to reconstruct the signal at lower frequency as well. Like,
Yeah, there will
lower
be some interference. That's what I'm.
Actually, yes, you are right. This is an aliasing case. Because these are impulses, so we are not actually trying, we are not able to visualize that particular overlapping. But because in this case, ideally my Fs should be greater than equals to 20 kilohertz. If we go by that formula, because my Fm here is 10 kilohertz. And in the first case, Fs is less than 20 kilohertz. It is 15 kilohertz. So that will say my aliasing is happening. And yes, you are right that in this case, we will not be able to reconstruct the exact signal. So if I put a low pass filter here, I will get a 5 kilohertz sinusoidal instead of a 10 kilohertz sinusoidal. So now let's go to the second case. In this case, again, the original signal will be at ±10K, and its replica, or after sampling, there will be impulses which are at 20 - 10, 20 + 10, and so on. So next will be at here, next will be at 30K, and so on. And to recover it, I'll just put a low pass filter here and I'll get back my 10 kilohertz sinusoid. So this is a perfectly correct case, while the first one is aliasing. I hope this is clear.